Hey everyone, whether you are watching this later on or you are jumping in right now, we are so excited. We were having middle school teaching live today, and I'm just really stoked for it. I am hanging out in my backyard right now, as you can see, and I decided to join from back here today because it is absolutely gorgeous outside. So maybe you get to watch this outside, maybe you get to jump in for your small group later on today outside. Hope that you get some great time today. And I have been hanging out in my backyard just as much as I can over the past few months because whoa, I almost dropped my phone. You can't capture that in a pre-recorded message. I got it now, so we're all good. But like I was saying, I have been hanging it out in my backyard a ton over the past few months. Whenever I have some free time or whenever I'm in between things, it has been a great opportunity just to be outside, to work on our backyard and just enjoy the day, play with our dog a little bit. Because I don't know about you, but I think when we are bored at home, sometimes we can do things that are maybe a little bit strange or maybe out of character, things that we wouldn't normally do just because we are in the house bored. It reminds me of when I was probably 4 or 5 years old, when I was really little. I was bored at home and decided that, you know what, I kind of want dark hair on my arms like my dad did. And so, my grand idea was, why not make that happen? And so I was so bored that I grabbed a marker and made little tiny black lines on one of my arms so that it looked like I had dark hair on my arms like my dad did. Great idea, right? No, wrong. Absolutely horrible idea, because I knew it was a bad idea when my dad actually saw it, and he did not have the same reaction that maybe I would have hoped he had. That was not my smartest decision that I've ever made, and I was a little kid. It's completely fine. It is what it is. But here's the thing. As short-sighted as that decision was, it was a temporary problem. We were able to scrub my arm and the marker came off. Temporary things have quick fixes. Temporary problems that are created don't have the same risk involved. We don't associate the same problem solving that maybe we do with something that is forever, that won't go away. And we have been talking about family here over the past few weeks, and we're wrapping up our series in family today called Family Matters. And the thing is, when it comes to this idea of forever and temporary, every single family is forever. Whether for better or for worse, whether we like that or not, every family is forever. But sometimes we can see them as temporary. We can see our families as temporary. And the problem with that is that we can make decisions acting like they're temporary, not thinking about the future, not thinking about the risk involved, not thinking about the fallout of the conversations that we might have to have, or even the damage or hurt that we could cause. And when we do that, some pretty serious things can happen. There's actually a story in the Bible of this happening a long time ago. You might remember when we started this series, we talked about two brothers named Jacob and Esau. And to make a really long and complicated story short, Jacob made some decisions in his family and with his brother that caused some serious drama and some serious fallout. It was so bad that Jacob had to run away from his family. He had to run away because he was afraid of what Esau was going to do. And I can only imagine that Jacob probably wished that his family was temporary, that the problems he caused were okay because family was temporary and they would go away and he would not have to deal with the consequences that would come. But the truth is that family is forever. And Esau, his brother, knew that. And eventually, years and years and years passed, and these brothers actually came back together. They came back together and it was time to reconcile, but Jacob was so afraid that he sent his whole family away. He was like, get out of here. I don't know what's going to happen. This could get bad. This could get really ugly. You can actually read this whole story in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, chapter 33. And Jacob sends his whole family away, just anticipating the worst, right? He's treated his family like they're not like they're forever, like they're temporary, and he sends them all away. And Esau comes up to him and he gives them a hug. And they fix things and they make things right. It actually happens the opposite of what Jacob expected is what happens. Isn't that crazy? That even though Jacob caused these problems, Esau is the one who initiates fixing them. And what's so interesting too is that when Jacob decided to treat his family like they were temporary, Esau knew they were forever and decided to take the necessary steps to fix things. And when he did that, Jacob actually left and built a home in a new place. And that place, as we know it now in English, was called shelter. He wanted to build a shelter. He wanted to build a safe place for his family. And that's the interesting thing that happens when we go from seeing family as temporary to forever. We go from causing problems and not really worrying about the future to wanting our families to be safe places, to wanting our families to be full of forgiveness and grace and mercy, where things can happen and it's okay, where we can mess up and be forgiven, where maybe someone can accidentally mess up with us or accidentally hurt us, and we can offer them forgiveness. And I want to say a little bit more about that before we close out today. But before I do, I want to be really clear on something. And it's maybe you're watching this video and you have a family member or someone in your life who has treated family like they're temporary, who has caused some hurt, whether they meant to or not. You know, if you decide to initiate trying to make things right like Esau did with his brother Jacob, and they don't receive you like the way Jacob did, that's okay. You know, we have to be willing to know that is not our weight to bear. You know, just like we talked about last week, we have to know and ask God for wisdom to tell apart what we can control and what we can't control. And that is really, really, really difficult. But sometimes we have to be in a space to say, you know what, God, I have done what I know I can do, and God, I want to ask you to lead me in those ways. But also, can you help me with this weight to know what is mine to bear and what is not? And I think Jacob knew that too. He knew he couldn't control the past, but what he could control was making things right with his brother from there on out, and making things right in his own family from there on out, to make sure he stopped treating his own family like they were temporary and more like they were forever, to make family a safe place, to make family a place of shelter. And that's what we can do today. You know, whether no matter what family looks like for you watching this video, you can choose today to treat family like they're forever. And hear me when I say that's a choice. It's a decision that we make every single day, and sometimes probably even multiple times a day. But when we do that, when we decide to treat family like they're forever every single day, we choose to make our families safe places. We choose to think about the future. We choose to invest in forgiveness and grace and mercy, and not causing problems and not worrying about having to clean up our mess afterwards. And that's hard. It's hard to make that choice every single day and not just think it's something that we can kind of want and hope to see. It's hard to make that decision every single day, and like we said, even multiple times a day. But you're not alone in struggling with this. And you're not even alone today as we talk about it, because I hope you get a chance to talk this through in small groups. We're going to be getting into why this is hard and what we can do in just a little bit at 1:30 today. If you're watching on Instagram, go ahead and send us a DM if you need a link to the Zoom call. We would love to send it your way, and we hope to see you there. See you, everyone.